Today we're doing my first Best Ball Mania draft. Feeling good after doing quite a bit of puppies now, so we got a good idea of things. Welcome to the climb. All right, everybody. So, looks like we got the 8th spot, which is kind of a weird spot for me because it's like there's a bunch of receivers that I like, but I'm not really too sure on where I want to go. I kind of like the running back range too here. Bijan's ADP is just still crazy to me. He's been flying off the boards early, and it's kind of ironic that some of the teams I've drafted, I think actually probably my second favorite team that I have is a Bijan build, and I took him at 5, so I took him really early. But, different things come out different ways. We're going to get week 17 pulled up on the side here, so I can pop over to week 16 too real quick and easy. Should have done that earlier. But, yeah, so looks like things are going to get going. I'm getting pretty excited, honestly. Football season's ramping up. We're starting to get more and more rumors here and there. We got the whole Dalvin Cook, I'm gonna restructure my contract, and I don't think that's gonna happen. I think that results in him getting cut before he goes somewhere else. Off the bat, we see pretty basic stuff. Jefferson off the board, Chase. Probably gonna look at. I would rather go AJ Brown here or Eckler. I have quite a few Devontae Adams teams, and he's kind of been in that rumor mill of, I don't know if he's going to stick with the Raiders. So if he doesn't end up there, then that's kind of curious in my eyes of, is he going to pay off where he's at, or just all these bad things that come around with the trade. The whole team build that you have could be completely thrown off there, but I'm not so sure. We're just going to kind of wait and see what falls to us here at 8 and work around that. Ideally, I think I want to go AJ Brown. I'm not super huge on Diggs. I think I got a couple puppy teams where I took him in the first, but I'm not super big on him. Kelsey goes off the board at 6. I haven't seen as much Kelsey early, which is shocking to me after seeing all the Week 17 matchups. Cincinnati still has to be the most appealing one. Yeah, so we kind of fell as what we thought we were going to. The choices between Diggs and AJ Brown. It's kind of a toss-up. Really doesn't make much difference. Just because I'm an Eagles fan, we're going to go AJ Brown. Keep it simple. Maybe build around Hurts again if he comes back around with that. Get the simple super stack. Then maybe go Goddard later in the draft. Like it's mentioned before, this is my first Best Ball Mania draft. I wanted to get some puppies under my belt before I went straight into a Best Ball Mania draft, just because it's a little more pricey. I wasn't going to go into one of the bigger ones that they have. I know the Dalmatian is one. I think that's 101 per entry, which I kind of wanted to do one just for fun because it's lower amount of people, higher payouts, all that kind of stuff. It's like, would I rather do that or 4 Best Ball Manias? I like doing the diversity, spreading out your teams more, getting a little bit more stocks and different players and not putting all your eggs in one basket here. So depending on who falls here, it's going to be whether I go Hurts or not. Hopefully people go quarterback early. If I go Hurts off the bat, that makes it simple. I'm looking at an Arizona stack later in the draft. I like getting Connor later in there. Not huge on Connor, but I think he's one of those guys that could have a lot of workhorse potential. So I think his ADP is a little bit lower. Excuse me. It should be higher than what it is. Saquon comes off the board. If JT is on the board for me here, or really I like any of these top 3 the top 3 options here. Getting them a little bit at value. Taylor falls here, I'm going to be kind of pumped because I love the Raiders Colt stack is probably my favorite one I've had so far. I don't see a world depending what this guy got. He went Diggs, so he probably is going to go Allen here and get the premium stat. I'm probably going to go Taylor just to get a little bit more unique of a build. I don't think JT would fall down to 17 super often, especially because he's going around that 1-2 turn, and he's going to not get auto drafted there. Sweet. Yeah, let's keep things simple. Go Jonathan Taylor. Get probably, in my opinion, it's hard for me to see Taylor not being a top 3 running back. I know the hype around Brees is super there, but in my mind, it's just like I can't I can't get my mind set on it just yet. I think CMC is going to be number 1. Jonathan Taylor, Eckler is in a fight for number 2. I don't have any arguments that Bijan's going to be a top 5 running back by any means. I think it's definitely in the range of outcome, and I would say it's more likely than not. But it's hard to tell. We definitely saw Tyler Algier come in strong towards the end of the year. I actually do want to look up some of his stats towards the end, because I know he did win some people some titles. And let's see here. This is just more me being curious. So week 15 on. 15 he had 21, 16, 11, 17, 15, and week 18, 13.5 points. So Algier did have quite a bit of carry towards the end, and if that translates to Bijan, who most people would consider a lot stronger of a playmaker, make things kind of exciting, kind of different. One thing I've been doing way more than what I would typically like is I've been going early tight end. And it's just, there's this weird little range in the receiver group where I'm just like, I don't know if I want to pick you. Like, I'm kind of scared. It's a whole lot of if, ands, and maybes. Let's see what the guy who built Hurts is. He went CMC Hurts. That's strong build to start, a little bit different than normal, I'm sure. Not too much of that floating around. So it seems like there's going to be a lot of unique builds. But what I was saying is, I seem to be going a lot of early tight end because there's just this range where I'm just not super excited about everything that's going around that range. Jacobs would be a good running back here to scoop up just because we have that Indy stack. Well, that changed real quick. Typically, I don't like to stack running backs. I would rather go receiver if I'm going to stack it with a running back. Just hopefully one team's ahead, that kind of thing, making the other team throw the ball, bolstering those points for that receiver, and also padding the stats for the running back here. So we're coming around here. I'm trying to look at different guys we got that seem exciting. The running back drop off comes heavy here. ETN I haven't drafted a whole lot of. I'm not necessarily in love with it. I like the top 4 people on board still. I don't want to necessarily go tight end because I've done so much in the puppy with Andrews, Hawkinson in particular. I think when you see our puppy overall exposure, it's going to be drastically high for me when it comes to Hawkinson in particular. I'm going to give myself a little more light here. There we go. Looks a lot prettier. Goff at the board on 3. What's this guy's team? Well, he really wanted to lock it in. That's interesting. Hopefully this one doesn't get thrown out. I could go Lamar here. I could go Debo. I like the Washington stacks later. They're easy to get. Let's go ahead and go Debo here. There's nothing that is super pertinent to the stacks that I have going on. No Vegas players, no Arizona players at this range. I'm not sure about the Week 16 matchup here. Who's playing where? Let's see who's San Francisco. They play the Ravens. So if I could get one of the two, Lamar or Andrews, on this next come around, that wouldn't be the worst thing ever. I'm quite a few picks away. I'm not exactly in love with that, but just gotta see who comes around to us. I'm not trying to rely too heavily on Week 17 in Best Ball Mania. I know it's critical if you make the playoffs, but I also want to potentially be in the top payout earlier in the games. That would be ideal. I'm kind of wanting to go like a 3 quarterback, 2 tight end here potentially, especially if we go. It depends who our quarterback is. I've been stacking a lot of tight end When I do 3 quarterback, I've been making sure that my tight end stacks. So like a Kirk Cousins with a Hawkinson, something like that. Coming around here, I've been liking the Pittsburgh-Seattle stack too. D-Hop is also an option. I would probably hope that he would fall. Seems like he's been falling a little bit, but that's way too far of a fall. Don't think that's realistic. I think D-Hop wouldn't be a terrible pick here. If Ridley falls, I might go Ridley solely for the fact that the ADP value is there. Same thing with Amari Cooper. The Jets stacks later have seemed to be pretty easy to get. I do like Aaron Rodgers and Lazard later in the draft. They seem like an easy late draft stack you can get. Fields comes off the board. I'll switch over to the draft board here after this pick. Cooper comes off the board. I could get Najee at a relatively okay ADP value here. It seems like the Seattle wide receivers are a little bit easier to get. I like Lockett a lot this year. I don't think they're going to make the super transition to JSN quite yet. So I think my mind, if Najee, I'm probably just going to go with the top 2 picks, get the ADP value here, try to get a little more uniqueness with this team since I got JT at a value early. I could go, wow, I have the pick between the two. Ridley could be elite this year, and we've seen him be it before, and I start off with 3 super strong receivers like that. It's hard to pass up on. Maybe we'll go a Lawrence build here. Trying to think if I'd want Najee for anything else. Jacksonville plays, this is one team I always forget. They play the Panthers. We could build around that later. We can get Miles Sanders. Maybe around on this next pick. Let's see what our next pick number is in comparison to ADP. 56. I'll leave the board up here for a second after I look. 56. That's right where Sanders' ADP is, so that wouldn't be a bad stack to get. Other teams we can look at, we could look at going Terry McLaurin here. I've been getting a lot of Jahan Dotson, so that wouldn't be another person we can pick when it comes around to this area. Let's see. Still, there's not a lot of Vegas players. Once Jacobs, you can take Hunter Renfrow late. I like Mayer's another good tight end. Maybe we'll be looking at kind of a T-Law, Jimmy G build. Get Michael Mayer towards the end. If D-Hop's floating around, that's the obvious pick here. Otherwise, I think I would like to go Miles Sanders, and then we'll kind of see if there's any other lingering ADP values. Not too bullish on a lot of it. Let's go ahead and line up Dotson on here just as a reminder for ourselves. Let's go ahead and click on the board so people can watch. Not a whole lot of quarterback off the board. Jared Goff going at the 7th pick in the 3rd round is pretty incredible. I don't know if this guy knows what he's doing, trying to build a base team. He's surrounding all the hype. Just trying to keep my mind on my team at this point. And look what we're working around. If we do go Goddard, it would be kind of, we got to keep an eye out on the guy who just drafted Claymakers there. See what T-Law's ADP is. We'd have to hope that he falls a little bit. I don't want to necessarily reach because we can still build around a bunch of our other guys. And I think it's more important to potentially get a workhorse running back here. I'm not loving going Pittman. I don't want to go A-Rich. I think A-Rich's value has gotten too rich for me, as ironic as that is to say. Just not in love with it. Pittman comes off the board. Keep it simple. Miles Sanders. I already got... Or do we go Kirk and go the stack? Get the Jacksonville stack. I want to go Ingram potentially later. So let's do this. Let's try to get T-Law on the next come around here. And then let's go ahead and find... Excuse me. James Conner is another guy I want to highlight. And T-Law should be somewhere in here. Did T-Law already come off the board? Oh, no. Okay. I was going to say, I'm like, I had him. Here, Ingram is who I was looking for. Evan Ingram is around 91. Okay, so we got pick 89, so that'd be a good spot to get him at. If we can get T-Law to fall here, see if anybody has... I got Ridley, so I don't think any... And we got only one guy that doesn't have a quarterback before us. So I think our main concern is this turn here, the 5-6 turn. If it doesn't go, T-Law should fall to us pretty safely. We got 2 running backs I like quite a bit this year in particular. Got some pretty elite receivers. We draft Ingram and T-Law, then we should actually come out pretty... Oh, there it goes. Had a feeling we were going to see it. Dang. Okay. So, come up with a backup plan here because we don't want to take Dotson here at 6'5". Other options here coming up, we could go Goddard. Who's the Atlanta stack? It's the Bears. We're not going to get anybody off the Bears. We could go Ayuk and then go 3 quarterback and take a Trey Lance or Brock Purdy. I don't hate the idea of that. I think Ayuk is a good pick here. And like I said, we're still building on a strong receiver core. I'm like really getting into this. I'm leaning in like I've been gaming for 20 hours at this point. JSN isn't really on my radar because we've kind of missed out on the early guys. I guess we still could get a couple values on the Pittsburgh later round people. Like we go Freiermuth. JSN still on the board. I think we go Ayuk. It's not a super good value, but it's a little bit of one. And it matches up with Debo quite well. We can get Eli Mitchell later in the draft, and we can really try to hit that game strong. This is definitely going to be a 3 quarterback build. So it wouldn't be a bad idea to look tight end here for us. Our next pick is around 80. Let's see what tight end's going there. We could get Darren Waller. The only problem with that is no major... we don't have any major stacks with the Rams. We could go Cam Akers on this next pick if he falls, and then we could build with that. If we wanted to go Waller, that'd be a little bit different. I don't want to get my games too far spread out with this week 17. I like Dotson more solely right now because we got 2 San Francisco receivers, and I think that's the route we'll go. So we're going to build primarily around this Washington-San Francisco game. We're going to take Trey Lance late. We're going to have to figure out something with our quarterbacks. Not sure exactly. Like I said, we'll maybe try to build around tight end stack. I might go Addison here if he falls that late. That'd be a full round past ADP, which I don't think we'll get that. But we can be hopeful. I've been drafting a lot of Kenny Pickett, it seems like, too. It seems like the Pitt receivers right here works good if you go early quarterback as well. I really like the wide receiver core we've built so far. It sucks that T-Law came off a little bit earlier than expected. Yeah, I'm not loving... I could go Traylon, too, if I wanted to go Houston. I really do think I need to stick in this game stack, though, with Washington. So we'll see where the ADP falls. If we get some values, we'll kind of the moral best ball. I feel like if you want to get unique on these bigger tournaments, you gotta do it if you can and hope for the best. But I'm surprised Pitts is still on the board here. Haven't drafted a whole lot of Pitts. We could get a little of the late Bears stacks if we want. I do like the Bears running backs. Once again, I'm not trying to stray too far from the path. It's easy for me to get my mind mixed in a lot of these drafts and kind of divert to a certain extent. CJ Stroud is another quarterback, or not CJ Stroud, excuse me. Bryce Young is another quarterback we go with. Dotson comes off the board. No fun for us. Definitely going to look at like an Antonio Gibson then later in the draft. I like that a lot. Let's find him and give him a little highlight. I think his ADP is way past where it should be. Maybe we're looking at this Cam Akers little kind of light stack too a little bit more here. If Deontay's on the board, I might go Deontay. If not, I might get Pitts here. Pitts, 17 picks essentially after Pitts at Pitts. So late after ADP, it would be pretty nice. um, just as a sole lone guy on the board. This guy's not going to go tight end. He's already got one. Is this the guy that took off? Only going to say he might. He's going really hard on his team. Is odd. So we're at pick 80 here, and we could get Pitts at a super value. Do I want to go there? I mean, it's hard. When you're that far past ADP, 17, 16 picks, we'll get a little bit. We'll remember we can look at the Chicago running backs too later in the draft. So let's take Ingram off our board. Definitely looking at these guys still. So just for my notes, I'm trying to remember who we got. So we got to look at Arizona players. Arizona, Indy, Vegas, Jacksonville, Carolina, obviously, and Atlanta, Chicago now would be our next one. 5 picks away. If James Conner falls, that's a smash pick for me. We already got really good receivers, and we're kind of getting to the running back dead zone where it's really not pretty for a little while. There's a couple of receivers in the middle here I like taking. I've been taking more frequently, hoping for the best, but loosely kind of thing. Connor definitely makes sense for the game stack with A.J. Brown. Got kind of loose on the initial Philly build, but when I decided not to go Hurts, I essentially decided that we're not going to try to build too strongly around that. I think we got a good chance at Connor falling to us here. No Eagles on this team. No Eagles here. We should get him. So let's go ahead and queue up Connor at the top. If not, that would put us in a real predicament of who we wanted to pick. I don't really like anybody else. Rashid White is an option. I just don't think that offense is going to be very good. I think James Conner is going to be a workhorse in a bad offense. We've seen it perform decently last year. And also we have the upside when Kyler does eventually make his return as a high-powered offense, even though they might be tanking at that point in the year. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty safe about getting Connor here. Don't want to get too excited. Perfect. Easy. Connor off the board. A little bit past ADP. So we're getting some good values on picks here. Jonathan Taylor, 4 pass. Connor, 5 pass. Ridley, 6 pass. Ayuk, just a few pass. But 16 full rounds on Kyle Pitts is pretty incredible. All right. Flip back up our board here. We'll scroll down a bit. Coming around with pick 104. I've been smashing Jameson Williams if he's there. I know he's not going to play this first 6 games, but with the team that we have, I just see it being an awesome pick. Other people that we could look at, not a whole lot of excitement built around here. Like I said, we could do this Jets-Cleveland stack still. That's another late one that I talked about for a worst-case scenario. I can kind of just think in the manner of ADP as a value pick, kind of as a lone wolf here. That's where my brain has been going. A lot of running backs coming off the board. I should feel safe in waiting till 113 to get Gibson. That's 8 spots above ADP. Jameson Williams off the board. This is the guy that's going strong Detroit, isn't it? No, different guy. Interesting. I do like that a lot. He's picking a lot of the guys that I wanted here. Ironically, he didn't get much of the San Francisco build, so I don't know where he's going with that exactly, but whatever. He's building his team quite strong, I guess, and he's playing against me at least. Kirk come off the board. Pretty standard pick here at the 8-9 turn. Got to have that Justin Jefferson stacked. He's got Hawkinson at the 3rd in the 4th round. Excuse me. So looking pretty good there. I like his team. Javonte comes off the board finally. How many Javonte was a super val? Oh, no, just 8. I thought Javonte was going earlier than that. people have been drafting at this range because this is kind of a weird range. I've been touching Michael Thomas here and there because he could be the 2 in an offense in a division that has really poor defenses. I'm hoping he scores enough. We haven't touched much of Bateman, but I've been warming up to the idea of Bateman. I think that game, the Week 17 game for the 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 Ravens. I'm looking at all this. The Ravens and the Dolphins could be pretty exciting. And we can always draft a Miami running back later that we would like. And we're getting these guys at values again. These ADPs are falling so much. Bateman comes off the board. I could go Zay Flowers just to change it up a little bit. Not sure exactly where we'll go with that between these two. I would like one of these 2 guys. After that, these wide receivers I'm kind of like gross on. I don't think I've taken Sutton in any draft at all. So that's kind of scaring me. Basically, let's see what these guys are looking at here. He's got Mahomes, Ramondre. He'll probably go Michael Thomas to continue the wide receiver stack for the game stack. Week 17, maybe. I don't know. Some of these builds are weird. This guy's just going like all Detroit. Wish he would have let me get Kittle. Geno off the board. A-Rich is falling too. Man, A-Rich might not be a bad pick here for me if I wanted to go quarterback. The thing is, he's not going to start the year super strong. He's very much a developmental quarterback. 104, it's really hard to pass on him. And I could get some of his receivers. If I had more Vegas in here right now, yeah, this guy's draft. This one worries me that it's going to get thrown out with all this randomness. I'm going to go Zay Flowers here just for the rookie upside. Hoping for the best there. Yeah, this draft is definitely scaring me. I guess it's like this is where the ADP scare comes in, and this on where they could do a reset. I guess otherwise it's not awful. That one scares me, but hey, you get in some weird drafts here and hope for the best. Good value on Zay Flowers there. I'm probably going to reach on Gibson here just because I think he's going to have receiving upside. I think the 49ers are probably going to dominate that game. So the Commanders are going to have to throw the ball. He's going to be the receiving back, hoping for the best there. All right, we do need to start looking quarterbacks here. We don't really have anybody to stack at this point. So we need to look at a quarterback stack. I was going to say, if A-Rich comes around on this next pick, I will absolutely pick him. This might not be a bad time to go Rodgers. I'm trying to think who I would want because we haven't built super around anybody. Is Sutton still on the board or did he come off? Sutton's still on the board. Maybe we go Sutton here and then get Russ and pass on Gibson. We got 3 strong running backs, but I don't have anybody from Washington yet. Russ could fall the whole round after where we drafted at 137. Man, I haven't I'm getting such good ADP values that it's hard for me to pass on some of this. And it's one like looking in the direction of value versus game stacks. If this guy doesn't go Sutton here, I'm just going to do it. I know this has been a way far stretch for me, but he comes off the board. Okay. Eli Moore. I don't have it. I can't do any stacks there. I think we go ahead just because the running back room gets a little nasty here, and I think Gibson is a strong pick. Stacks with the games. Got a really strong wide receiver room. We got some rookie upside at some value. Man, I just really need to think how I want to build around these receivers. So let's look at the teams that we can. We still can do a Vegas stack with Jimmy G, Mayer, Hunter Renfrow later in the draft. So let's go ahead and highlight those people. Bryce Young, we still can get some receivers there. And Trey Lance, where are you falling in these draft boards anymore? So let's put these all up like so. I do want to get Michael Mayer on our board, so I'm remembering ADP value. That's kind of like how I stack my queue most of the time. We got all these Carolina receivers here still. Let's just go ahead and highlight them all, I guess. Because we should be able to get some of them at value. Be a different build. Like I said, we got to do 3 quarterback here. Chicago options, we need to look at the running backs. Roshan Miller. I was thinking Kendra Miller. I was looking at Miller, and that's what I was saying. Deontay Foreman's not a bad late round pick. I'm trying to think. I need to pay attention to who else is coming off the board as well. Lazard came off the board, so I'm glad I didn't go that route. Khalil Herbert, too, even at value here, if he comes around, just say screw it and keep going. Definitely a 3 quarterback build here. If we get Mayer as our late round tight end, I like that a lot as our 2. Man, this has been a fun draft. I've been doing a lot of thinking here. I'll pull up the draft board here to keep everybody informed on where everybody's at, what we're looking at. I'm the only person without a quarterback so far. Oh, excuse me. New username does not have a quarterback yet either, so I need to keep an eye on who he's looking at. He's kind of held out to dry too with basically everybody on his team. Kenny Pickett would be the only guy he really could go with. He might do a Jordan Love build here since he's got Aaron Jones. I need to keep an eye on Jimmy G with him too. So 128. I know the Gibson reach was 9. That wasn't so bad. Rodgers still on the board. However, there's not much going on with him that, oh, there he goes. This is a guy that probably, did he take, he did not take, I need to remember these people's teams apparently a little bit better. I'm probably going to go Khalil Herbert here. And then looking at my running back room, I can basically let that soar. I don't have to touch anything. I'll have a little bit of the soft stack with Atlanta and leave it at that. I mean, I like it. I would go Eli Mitchell, potentially 2. Got a really strong, really strong group. We can also look at Hayden Hurst as a worst case scenario. We can make a triple stack there with CJ Stroud. I'm Bryce Young. Man, I need to get that through my thick skull for whatever reason. My brain keeps faltering in that. Man, if Khalil Herbert's still on the board, that'd be awesome. I could also go Darnell Mooney and kind of push it around. Where's our next pick? Does that line up with anybody? So we're at 137, 152, 161. Derek Carr comes off the board. Khalil Herbert still on the board. Would I rather go Mooney here? Got a lot of week 9 buys. I think I'd rather go Mooney here to have the upside, get a Carolina receiver, and then take Roshan or Herbert later. Let's go Mooney. I've been like talking myself out of every which way. It's tough. Honestly, I'm making these decisions on the fly and it's making me nervous. But I like Mooney there just to get, once again, 5-pick value. It's kind of who you want at this point. Nothing massive on the value there. But we can also look at the Miami running backs too, if something falls not our way. Jeff Wilson, and there's Mostert. Especially in this value with the Chicago running backs. It's funny because me and Erwin are talking about Khalil Herbert comes off the board, rightfully so. That was my argument of a pick there. So we need to look at Bryce Young. Probably this quarterback room is going to be a little scary. Bryce Young around 161. That'd be 7 spots above ADP. So that seems okay. I'm okay with going with that. Investing a lot in the Carolina offense is a little bit scary. I love our wide receiver room. Our running back room is incredibly strong. Mingo comes off the board, so I'm going to have to keep an eye on this guy. See what other... So he's got the Jacksonville stack. He's got Dak and T-Law. I don't expect him to go 3 quarterback. Let's see how the turn comes around when we go there. I would get to draft after him. No, yeah, after him. I don't want to go Thielen here. I could get Elijah Mitchell. I'd rather just wait. It's a lot of San Francisco involvement, and I kind of like what I got already. Man. I don't like getting in the spot where it's right before my pick, and I'm questioning everything that I have planned. I could get Sky Moore at value. I really don't want to touch any Kansas City receivers. Thielen could be a touchdown guy in this offense. Komet comes off the board. I almost like Chark more. Do I go Roshan here? It's definitely a little bit of a reach, but nothing crazy. I think I'm going to go Roshan just to get a little bit more of that Chicago involvement in that game. Rookie upside. He could be the 2. He could be the 1 for all we know. Definitely depends with Herbert. And the Falcons could be a high-scoring game. I mean, it could be very, very low-scoring. Could be a very, very run-heavy game. It could be a really high-scoring game. We've seen Chicago put up so many points. So, had a little bit of a reach there, technically. Could have got some good value on Eli Mitchell. Just with these guys already, and then me going Trey Lance later in this draft. I didn't really want to risk that too much. I think my next 2 picks here, ideally, are going to be Chark if he falls, and then Bryce Young. Fingers crossed. I know I'm taking a little bit of a risk there, but it seems like everybody that I've wanted to fall has had a decent fall so far. Need to look ahead for the Trey Lance. Trey Lance will be 1 spot past ADP. We got to hope Jimmy G falls. If not, we're going to be looking real weird at quarterback here. Could look Desmond Ridder. I mean, that's not a terrible option. Could do a late Mac Jones. Just throw it in their stack. Kenny Pickett still will be an option. Let's just see. Russ is falling way past ADP too. Could go Mims later if I wanted to take the scary route. Don't think I want to. I think my best hope is just Chark falling here and then grabbing Bryce Young. Man, I am so bad with Bryce Young and CJ Stroud. I don't know why my brain is just so combobulated in that manner. Erwin's going to be so proud of me that I took Kyle Pitts. Chark comes off the board. Let's see what this guy's quarterback situation is. He could definitely be looking... New username. Where is he at in regards to picking here? So I would get the pick before him. I don't love Thielen being the old guy. He could be a little touchdown dependent, but he could score quite a bit. Guess we'll have to wait and see. I could take flyers on Stafford, potentially. I do need to go quarterback here soon. Jordan Love is way past ADP. I was going to say Jaden Reed's still on the board. If Thielen comes off the board, I could go Jordan Love here and kind of punt a little bit on that strategy. I don't need running backs anymore. I'm pretty confident in my running back room. Really just hoping Thielen falls and we're getting another ADP value. Dang. All right. Well, so we got the Carolina, Jacksonville. That's just kind of a light stack now. San Francisco, Washington is our stronger stack. We still can incorporate the Vegas people. Let's go ahead and take Bryce Young off since we're not going to get much of a receiving group from there. Being a little risky with what we got going on right now. I think Jordan Love might be calling. And then we can wait till Lance on the next pick, hopefully. So maybe we'll go Jordan Love. Jordan Love here, Reed here. Get a little bit of a Green Bay stack going. Don't hate the idea of it. And of course, get nothing like the auto draft. So we're in an ugly spot here. Quarterbacks on the board. Stafford being the strongest. It's Van Jefferson still. He would be our next round pick. And then we can take a late round flyer on like Slayton or somebody. Let's go ahead and get Stafford. Let's go ahead and add Van Jefferson. And then we can also add Higbee here, and he could potentially... No. We don't want to waste that pick. I think the board you see is kind of where we're going to go. We can take the running backs off. Man, that sucks. Auto draft on the bad team, kind of stealing all of our thunder. Irv Smith comes off. Man, that one's a tough one. Okay, so I need a pen and paper for my brain to keep all these stacks together. This ain't going to be the best thing. We do have some strong game correlations. We got a little bit of Atlanta, Chicago potency going in there. We got some San Francisco, Washington. Could take a flyer on Sam Howell if we really wanted. There's a lot of upside there. We could take a lot of risk. If Trey Lance comes off the board, it might be a good one to go. I wanted kind of a stable quarterback room. Oh, man. But took some risks here. Marvin Mims. Higbee's still floating there. It'll be a little bit more of a Ram stack. Maybe a little bit more safe than Mayer. I don't hate the idea. Man, I was going to go Higbee on that last route. I'm trying to think of the Rams receiving room. Let's go ahead and look that up real quick. I don't think there's anybody. Is Van Jefferson the 2 right now? I'm like trying to remember if they signed anybody. I mean, they can't be any worse than what they were. I'll say he's going to auto draft it anyway. Yeah, Jefferson's still the 2. All right, let's get our own Jefferson. Keep rounding out that room. I know we're playing it risky on quarterback here. I really like our wide receiver room as a whole. If we can get these 2 guys, I think that'll kind of stabilize because we know Stafford will be a full starter. Trey Lance has incredible upside if he's playing the whole time. 3 quarterbacks. Mahomes, nice. Not the best build. Thanks for letting people fall to me. Hurting at running back. Warren's not a bad pick there. Can't argue on that one, but not my cup of tea. I really do like our build. Just the quarterback room is going to be a little bit scary. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else Washington-wise that we really like that we could stack later. Can look at these guys. I don't have crazy love for either of them, but we'll just keep them on our list. If we somehow fail in one of the running back room or one of these quarterback room draft picks. Oh man. I do want to add Slayton as my last round pick. He's kind of a guy that I've seen the draft a lot in that last round. So Zay Flowers is kind of our loner as of right now. Don't have any of the Miami guys, and we're probably not going to take any of the Miami guys. I'm just praying Trey Lance comes back around. Let's see if anybody's got Kittle before us. That would be the only scary thing. Doesn't look like. I guess we could go to this and make it a lot more quicker. So Kittle went right here, right, the guy right before us. He's got Jordan Love, Derek Carr. He very easily. He's got Jared Goff. If he goes a fourth quarterback, my pride's gonna be hurt. He's got Laporta sitting there. Laporta's an awesome pick at this point for him. I would consider Laporta at this point if I didn't desperately want to go Trey Lance to keep this team somewhat synchronized. This is kind of a fun team, a little bit different. That was basically what I wanted from this draft as a whole. Is I wanted something different, a little unique. It might not be the best team, but it does have a lot of potential. At least I feel strong in the potential right now. If Laporta comes back around when we're there, I might have to go ahead and snag him up and say, sorry, Michael Mayer, you're my not my most favorite. Oh man, I thought that was Lance that came off the board for whatever reason. My heart skipped a beat. Curtis Samuel comes off the board. All right. So we got a big investment in San Francisco, and we're just going to hope that Gibson tears it up. So I'm so worried about this guy who's had the most random draft, taking a fourth quarterback and it being Trey Lance. I want some risk. When I'm playing in these bigger tournaments, I want to have unique drafts with people that have that high end upside. And Trey Lance has been talked about as one of the highest end upside guys. And I mean, however long. I mean, I can't even think of a longer, like every single year we talk Trey Lance. Like he's going to be a guy. And there's a reason for that. I mean, they traded up to get him. Purdy's going to be coming off the elbow injury. Let's go ahead and just throw Renfro as another guy that we could like. I would rather go Mayer here. Laporta comes off the board, which makes it scarier for me not to get Trey Lance. 20 seconds until our fate. He should not draft. They should take a tight end here as an auto draft, realistically. I'm like, just like, I've gotten to the point where I'm just solely scared of what's going to happen. Oh, thank God. All right. Trey Lance, looking good, an off-season program. Let's stick to that. So, big stack there with the San Francisco people. We got our loose end, Antonio Gibson in there. Like I said, I don't think there's any other Washington besides Sam Howell. I don't really want to go Logan Thomas for any reason. Michael Mayer will definitely be our next pick at 185 if he's there. If not, our tight end situation got a little scary. I could consider going Bryce Young at this next pick if he's there. And then that's an option. That is definitely an option. Getting Irv, and I mean, if their passing game, if Miles Sanders takes a CMC-esque role, then Bryce Young could have a lot of passing work, a lot of extra yardage that we didn't expect. And I don't think their offense will change that drastically. I know they got a lot more wide receivers. I think I want Bryce Young because I want the rookie upside potential and more excitement in my eyes. So it turns out that, and we don't got any other like major Mayer came off the board. Now we're hoping for the Bryce Young, Hayden Hurst stack to finish it out. That one hurt. A little bit of a pivot. I was going to say I was going to go Mayer for sure. Oh. We know Hayden Hurst can get it done, and we've seen we've seen Hayden Hurst just be somehow relevant every single year and never be exciting. This guy does not need a quarterback. Draft him a receiver. Hunter Renfrow. Let's go, Bryce Young. We talked about getting him. That kind of rounds us out. It's a little bit scary of a quarterback room. Tight end room's going to be a little bit loose here, too. We got Pitts, and we're trusting in Pitts. That's what you do when you draft early tight end. Barring mine was in the 80s. Literally pick 80 on a guy. Typically goes early 6th round. So can take Jimmy G off the board, Howell off the board, Slayton with our last round pick. We got 2 picks left. So it's pretty simple. We get Hurst if we can. Hope a lot of people don't need tight end. 1, 2, 3. Oh, and they all pick before me again, don't they? This is not a good situation. Trying to think of a worst case scenario tight end. I guess Isaiah Likely wouldn't be a bad one since we got Zay Flowers. Gives us another option. Isaiah Likely could even be the 2 in the offense too. Andrews, if we're thinking positively about everything, we could go Jelani Woods if we want to keep Indy that stack in there. I don't really want to go Noah Fant. At this point, I'm just going to try to keep game stacks. So I think that's kind of our order. Wrap it out. So kind of a fun team. Just kind of reviewing. The goal is Matt Stafford, Trey Lance, Bryce Young. Thin quarterback room. We got some value on Bryce Young, so hopefully that kind of pays off. Hopefully he transforms into a middle-of-the-road safety guy with a little bit of upside as a whole. Running backs, JT, Miles Sanders, James Conner, Antonio Gibson, Roschon Johnson. Feel pretty good about that. Got 3 pretty good starting running backs there with some guys that got some upside. Roschon Johnson makes me a little nervous, but not the worst thing ever. In the wide receiver room, A.J. Brown, Deebo Samuel, Calvin Ridley, Brandon Ayuk, Zay Flowers, Darnell Mooney, Van Jefferson, Kyle Pitts. We'll go over all the game stacks. Just do a quick little touching on how what correlates after the game is over here, or after the draft is over here. Still praying. We're getting close. 5 picks. Hayden Hurst falls to us. Not much more than we can ask for there. We can look at the soft stacks otherwise. Kind of coming across the board if Slayton does come off. Maybe even a Claypool to add in a little bit more with the Chicago-Atlanta correlation. Don't necessarily love it, but could be another value pick. Be a little more unique. I don't know. At this point in the draft, you're just throwing darts, so you're just hoping for the best. I had fun with this one, though. It was stressful, and getting so many ADP values, it was really getting me on the brain of, all right, do we go there? Do we change it? And it's like the last second pivot, and it's like, man, it's hard to pass up on such amazing value. So Claypool comes off the board. Don't have to think about that. We're going Hayden Hurst either which way here. He has 1 tight end, and Hurst is next on the board. I have a big feeling we're going to be disappointed here. Arizona, we do have... Maybe we do go Trey McBride. We got a little bit more Arizona involvement. Gives us a little bit more of that risk or happiness correlation. He went Jimmy G. All right, Hayden Hurst, come to me. So, phew, that one made me nervous. Very, very nervous there for a bit. And I was like, oh no. Slayton probably is our last pick. So let's just try to review. Just because we got the soft Van Jefferson stack in there. Probably Slayton would be the best pick because he's a big play guy. We know that wide receiver room's a mess, but when he plays, he can catch three or four passes and go for 120 and 2. So that's kind of what I'm going for. We've seen it multiple years now, and I know he's kind of an injury-prone guy, but this team rounded out about as okay. Oh, Slayton comes off the board. All right, let's go New York Giants, see if anybody else. Paris Campbell's still on the board. That's not Sterling Shepard's another one. Let's just click on them. For now, we got 5 picks to kind of go with. We got the Jacksonville Carolina stack. We could look at another Jacksonville player potentially. See if there's anybody exciting. Jamal Agnew doesn't really float my boat too much here. Anybody from Washington? No. Arizona. Or it's Dortch. It's not a terrible pick. If we want it a little bit. Got Rondale Moore there. I think we just stick with one of these guys. Paris Campbell came into the room. Yeah. Let's just go ahead and take Campbell. Kind of rounds everything out with a little bit more of the, like I said, the soft stack with that game. So I'm going to wait for everything to kind of finish out here. I'll bring up the thing, kind of show our correlations with the drafts, the Week 17 schedule, excuse me. Let everybody finish out their picks here. Only got a few left. Give you a kind of a look at the board from start to finish here. Things I would do different. Not really a whole lot. Maybe try to take quarterback a little bit earlier. Hard to tell on anything that, I mean, Fields would have been pretty. Where did Fields go? I would have had to draft him instead Debo. And we got Ridley at value instead. Excuse me. So I think that's probably a pretty good fit overall for our team. Yeah, it's not the worst. It's not the strongest. Quarterback room's a little iffy. We're doing the typical tight end. Rely on your high round pick and hope that the other guy can supplement on the bye week. I'm actually glad I didn't pay too close of attention to the bye week there. So that could have been bad. Week 9 looks a little rough in our wide receiver room, but we got some guys here that definitely can fill it out. Just a matter of people scoring at the right time, right place, right time, sort of thing. So, all right, Land Shark here with the last pick, and we'll talk about our correlations just in full. We'll start from the top, run through our team, stick to the correlations. Got a lot of value on this draft, so overall, like I said, pretty content. Get closer and closer to all the real season stuff. I'm starting to look at redraft a little bit more, and it's getting me excited for everything to come. So let's go ahead and we can just go to our results. Drafts completed, excuse me. Got to figure out when. Got a bunch of puppies running here. Completed, only 4 done. First best ball Mania. All right, so at quarterback, got Matt Stafford, Trey Lance, Bryce Young. Running backs, Jonathan Taylor, Miles Sanders, James Conner, Antonio Gibson, Roshan Johnson. Wide receiver, A.J. Brown, Debo Samuel, Calvin Ridley, Brandon Ayuk, Zay Flowers, Darnell Mooney, Van Jefferson, Paris Campbell. Tight end, got Kyle Pitts and Hayden Hurst. Starting off the top with our Rams correlation. The Rams are playing the Giants Week 17. Got Van Jefferson down yonder. And we got Paris Campbell. So light stack there. Nothing too crazy. San Francisco, Trey Lance, Debo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk. Pretty good group there, as long as Trey Lance is the one that's playing. Just a light one again with the Antonio Gibson. Our Week 17 correlations aren't crazy strong, but they're there. Bryce Young, Carolina. They play Jacksonville. We got Calvin Ridley in the middle here. Hayden Hurst and Miles Sanders. Nothing else too drastic. I don't think we got any Vegas players to stack with Jonathan Taylor. Doesn't look like it. James Conner, Eagles. I think that's the only one Arizona player we got there. Yeah, so James Conner, A.J. Brown. Loose stack once again. Already talked about our Chicago we have not. Roshan Johnson, Darnell Mooney, and Kyle Pitts for the Atlanta game there. And Zay Flowers is a unicorn. He's on his own. And I think that's it. I think everything else correlated pretty well. Got a lot of values on people that we like. Only anything that's within a 5 range, I don't really consider a value or a reach. So good value on Bryce Young here. For Jonathan Taylor falling to pick 17, I think that is a good value since it's such an early pick. Let's see, we got one other one that was pretty big around this range. Ridley, enough that, once again, it's an early round pick, so 6 picks. It's on that borderline for me. Zay Flowers fell almost a full round past the ADP, which is nice. We'll take it. Kyle Pitts fell 17 picks, 16 full picks past ADP. So, and Hayden Hurst got a couple picks, but once again, I don't really consider it at that point. So, yep, we can go ahead and make some picks in these drafts, but we'll worry about those later. We'll talk about that in our exposure kind of thing. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Enjoy my Eagle screen there. I wasn't thinking what I was doing, but go Birds. I hope everybody has a good week, and thank you for watching. This has been The Climb.